If all of what you say is true,
it is,
then why was Trump hiding it and lying about it at the time? And I'll play that for your response. He lied about it. We all know that.
Take a look. Take a look. Let's see.
Mr. President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? No. Then why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Ari, that's what you're going to consider a lie. A lie to me is something material under oath in a proceeding.
Well, I didn't say perjury. I said a lie.
Yeah, but that's not a lie. That's
not a lie?
Here's why it's not a lie.
That's not a lie?
Here's why it's not a lie.
Did you know about this?
Let me answer.
Did you know about this? No, I don't.
No, we don't need that. Here's why it's not a lie.
Yeah.
Because it was a confidential settlement. So if he acknowledged that, he would be violating the confidential settlement. So is it the truth? Of course it's not the truth. Was he supposed to tell the truth? He would be in violation of the agreement if he told the truth. So by him doing that, he was abiding by not only his rights, but Stormy Daniels' rights.
It seems like we're drawing some blood here because you're having a strong reaction. He did lie about it, and in a confidential settlement, you can easily say, no comment, or I'm not getting into it. He says, and the reason why I look at this, he says, no, I didn't know about it. But he did know about it, didn't he?
But here's the thing. I don't know the timing of that video. I really don't. And I'm not trying to play games with you.
April 2018.
Yeah, but I don't know the timing of that video in relation to the timing of the other video where he was speaking to Michael Cohen. What was the date of that other video? Do you know?
Yeah. We have the Cohen recording. This was around the 2016 campaign pre-November. So that was 2018 later. The original conversations were in the fall of 2016. Yes, sir.
So obviously he knew about it, but what he decided to do was not violate the confidentiality clause and provision of that agreement, which was the right thing to do. So, yeah, he could have said no comment, or he could have said, I don't know anything about it, which is what he did. But that's the right. I would advise my client to do the same thing. He's speaking to some, whether it's a journalist or some young lady on the street.
September 2016 is the exact date.
But whether he's speaking to a journalist or some young lady on the street who's shouting out a question, that is not the form for him to go into detailed questions about a confidential settlement agreement.
What is it that you allege that is improper about either Mr. Pomerantz or the function of the DA that is provable that you think should be on the record?
I have an agreement that he signed when he left his Paul Weiss, which is a Clinton-affiliated law firm, by the way, as an aside. When he left Paul Weiss to join...
Opinion, but go ahead.
It's not my opinion. It's a fact. They raised money for the Clintons, but it's whatever it is. He went to the district attorney's office as a prosecutor. You know, in his great book, he told his wife that not only did they not pay him, he would have paid to prosecute Donald Trump. Think about that. Let that roll around your head for a second. Prosecutors are supposed to be blind when it comes to dishing out justice. He would have paid to prosecute Trump, he said. Then he goes in there looking for a crime to fit the person. It's not supposed to be that way in our system. It's the other way around. Then he signs a document, and in that document it says, if you reveal grand jury information, which is any information, according to this document, that you get during this investigation. He wasn't there as a pedestrian. He was there as a prosecutor assigned with fiduciary obligations and confidentiality agreements. And if you reveal this to a third party, it's a felony under New York state law. Well, be damned. He just decided he was going to write a book. I believe his license will be taken from him. And I believe Alan Bragg is going to look for criminal charges. That's what I believe. That's what I've heard, but we'll see what happens there. But here's what he said.
From who?
District Attorney's Office.
From someone currently working in the office?
Correct.
Said what?
That they're looking at the conduct of Pomerantz in violation of the grand jury secrecy laws. It's black and white. It's in his agreement that he signed.
Why would they tell you that right now?
Because I've been interacting with him on that topic.
Would you say that in a sworn affidavit?
Sure. You have a sworn affidavit you want me to sign?
Well, I mean, I don't have
it. Would I say that? I wouldn't say it on. I wouldn't say it on television if I wouldn't say it in the sworn affidavit. Okay.
Well, it's a heady allegation you're making, and you're citing the current DA's office.
And it's a factual allegation. He signed a document.
So here's the question.
Alan Bragg went on television to say what he's done is in violation of grand jury secrecy laws.
And we reported that.
That's not a shock here.
I'm giving you time on this.
Tie up, though, the Pomerantz
Go ahead,
thing.
okay.
Here's what he said in his book, which was clearly one of the most biased things I've ever read, because he said he wanted to get Trump. He wanted to find a crime to fit Trump. What he said was that this case, the Stormy Daniels hush money case, was the zombie case. It's the one that no prosecutor would touch in a million years. And it's funny that we have now reduced ourselves to the point of relying solely on Michael Cohen, a guy who's a convicted liar, to bring a case against President Trump when they have nothing else. They scoured for 3 years.
You know,
all
it's
of his
interesting. You're
records of his
jumping.
life.
I got to say, you're jumping around because I wanted to give you time on the Pomerantz piece. You're jumping around as a reporter and fact checker. I have to say, we have the Cohen receipts. It's not just his word. Your point is he was convicted, and he was convicted of these crimes. But we'll put up on the screen for people to remember, multiple receipts of these payments. This is, I think we have this in part one, our Cohen payments, which he made. So those checks are signed by your client, Donald Trump. That is not Mr. Cohen's word. Those are actively verified financial receipts. And when they talk about receipts, that's what you're facing in court.
You know, I honestly, Ari, I think it's time for me to get a thicker pair of glasses, maybe, because I'm not extra. That says Donald Trump on it, right? That's
and it's from
made
the
out
actual banks, and it's the actual receipts. Yeah.
Made out to who?
Will this work in New York court? Will you tell the judge you need glasses?
Made
out to Mr. Cohen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, there's a fact that's not in dispute. What are you talking about? I thought you were showing me a check that was signed by my client that was sent to Stormy Daniels. Yes, he paid Michael Cohen.
Yes.
He was invoiced by Michael Cohen for legal fees.
I want to button up Pomerantz. I appreciate you taking all the questions. If you are, for the sake of argument, correct about Mr. Pomerantz, what do you say to the DA defense or few that he no longer works there, that they got rid of him, that this is a
They didn't get rid of him. He resigned.
He did resign, but what do you say to their view that whatever you think of him, even if you're right that he made chargeable mistakes, for the sake of argument, that doesn't vitiate and destroy this case against your client? What do you say to that?
I say, well, according to Alan Bragg, it caused a problem for them because Alan Bragg went and did a press conference saying that this compromises their grand jury investigation against Trump. So that was the DA saying that.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, just let's focus on these facts. Ari, these facts do not make out a crime, not a misdemeanor, not a felony, not a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
They don't. They just don't. There is nothing criminal about what happened in the Stormy Daniels payments.
You're handling this New York case. Would you defend him on January 6th?
Listen, what I'm not going to do is go into, I don't know about all these other cases.
Would you take the January 6th case?
If I believe in the case, I would certainly take it. That's why I'm involved in this case.
Do you believe in the case?
I don't know enough about it. I believe in him. I will tell you that.
Joe, I'm giving you time. Joe, you know what happened on January 6th.
What's not going to happen is I'm not going to go into hypotheticals. I'm just not going to do it. I know what happened on January 6th.
So I
represented Kimberly Guilfoyle in that congressional
committee. Would you take
committee.
Donald Trump's January 6th defense?
Donald Trump?
Yeah.
What did he do wrong?
I'm asking if you take the case. I'm not doing an interview with you. I'm interviewing you. Would you take the case?
Let's switch seats then for a minute.
Someday we will. Would you take that case?
If they asked me to take it and there were a case, depending on what the allegations were, of course. It's also a matter
Depending. All right.
Yeah, depending. I can't just say I'll take any case. I don't do that as a
Joe,
lawyer. Okay?
I
believe in this man. I believe in Donald Trump. And I feel he's being victimized by a system, and it makes me sick to my stomach.